The night was calm on Mars Colony 9. Under the red sky, the human settlement slept inside its steel walls. Rows of metal houses glowed faintly from power cells. Only the hum of wind machines broke the silence. Then, knock, knock, knock. The sound echoed down a quiet street. A few windows lit up. A woman peeked out, then quickly closed the blinds. Another man whispered, "She's back again." Standing alone in the dust storm was an alien woman. Her skin shimmered faint blue under the dim lights. She wore a torn, silver cloak, and in her arms she carried something wrapped in a glowing blanket that pulsed with faint white light. She lifted her tired hand and knocked again. Knock. Knock. "Please," she said weakly. Her voice was soft, trembling, full of pain. "Please, someone help me." But no one opened the door. For 3 years, stories had spread across human colonies about an alien woman walking from city to city, knocking on every door she found. Some said she was a spy. Others said she carried a weapon that could destroy worlds. Children were told to stay indoors. Soldiers had orders: do not approach. Report sightings immediately. And yet every few months, she returned to knock again. That night, a young man named Ethan watched from behind his window. He lived alone in a small metal cabin at the edge of the colony. His tools lay scattered around the room. He was a repair engineer, a quiet one who fixed machines no one else wanted to touch. He had seen the news broadcasts about her. The alien mother still wanders, 3 years and no rest. He always wondered what drove someone to walk through human lands, risking hate and fear. Now she was right outside his home. He looked closer. Her steps were heavy, her breathing slow. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. The glowing bundle in her arms shifted slightly. Ethan realized it was a child. He whispered to himself, "She's carrying a baby." A sharp voice came from his radio. The colony patrol was making announcements. "Attention citizens, the unidentified alien female has been spotted in District 12. Lock your doors. Do not engage." Ethan's heart beat faster. He looked at the alien mother again. Her eyes were filled with desperation, but also something human. Hope. She knocked once more. Knock, knock, knock. The baby made a soft sound, almost like a sigh. Ethan could not look away. He remembered the old war stories, how humans and aliens had fought decades ago. His own father had served in those battles. His father used to tell him, one day someone must be brave enough to open the door first. But that man was gone now. Only Ethan remained, staring at a mother who might die in the cold if no one helped. Still, fear whispered inside him. What if she is dangerous? What if the stories are true? Then the baby cried. A soft, glowing light flickered from within the blanket, shining through the storm. That small, innocent sound broke the silence in Ethan's mind. He grabbed his jacket and walked to the door. His hand hovered over the handle. Outside, the wind howled like a warning. Through the metal, he heard her voice again. "I am only looking for the one who saved us." Her words struck deep. Saved. From what? He hesitated one last time. Around him, the alarms from patrol drones echoed closer. Red lights flashed across the street. The alien woman looked up at the sky, then back at his door. She didn't run. She didn't hide. She simply waited. Ethan took a deep breath and whispered, "All right, Dad. Maybe it's my turn now." He reached for the handle and stopped as the loud sound of engines filled the air. 3 colony patrol drones descended from above, shining white beams onto the alien woman. A robotic voice shouted, "Halt! You are in restricted territory. Surrender!" The woman clutched her child tightly and turned toward the nearest wall. The wind whipped her cloak around like wings. Ethan froze. Through the small glass window, he saw her glance at his door one last time, her eyes glowing faintly blue. She whispered something he couldn't hear. Then, in a flash, she disappeared into the shadows between the metal buildings, her footsteps fading into the storm. The drone scanned the street but found nothing. The air grew quiet again. Ethan stood by his door, heart pounding, breath trembling. He realized he had just witnessed something no human would believe. He whispered to himself, "She's still looking for someone. And next time, I'll be ready." Outside, far down the street, a single knock echoed again in the distance. Knock, knock, and the legend of the alien mother continued. Weeks passed after that night. The colony soon forgot the fear, but Ethan did not. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face, the tired alien mother, her silver eyes glowing through the storm, her arms holding that shining child. Across human networks, new reports began to appear again. News channels showed blurry footage, the same alien woman walking alone through dust storms, knocking on metal doors of forgotten towns. Some said she was searching for food. Others said she was searching for revenge. But the most popular rumor called her the door knocker of the stars. Children drew her picture in their schools. Traders told stories about seeing her in different colonies, sometimes thousands of miles apart, all within the same week. "Maybe she can teleport," they said. "Maybe she's not real," others replied. But to Ethan, she was real. He had seen her eyes, heard her voice. He started collecting every image and video he could find about her. Each showed her walking, slowly through new places, sometimes in desert colonies, sometimes near frozen domes, always holding that glowing child. In every clip, she knocked gently on a door, and in every clip, no one ever answered. At night, Ethan kept his lights off and stared at the old holographic screen in his room, replaying one blurry video again and again. He whispered to himself, "Who are you searching for?" Outside, the red storms moved across the horizon. He began to feel restless, trapped in a life that felt meaningless. The machines he fixed every day hummed like they were mocking him. "You repair everything," he thought, "but you didn't help the one who needed it most." One evening, while he was working at the colony's repair bay, two soldiers entered. They were talking loudly. "That alien freak was spotted again, on Titan Colony this time," one said. "Still knocking on doors? What a waste of time," the other laughed. Ethan looked up from his work. "Did you say Titan Colony?" "Yeah," the soldier said. "A family saw her near the outer wall. She was asking for someone, some human. Then she just disappeared again. She's insane." Ethan felt something heavy in his chest. He didn't know why, but he felt connected to her story. 3 years she had been searching, and still no one had listened. That night, he opened his father's old chest where his medals and war logs were kept. Among the items was a broken communicator, one his father had used during the last human-alien conflict. He turned it over and found a name scratched into the metal. Lyra. His breath caught. The alien woman on the screen, her name was Lyra. He remembered how his father once said, "Not every alien is our enemy, son. Sometimes they just want to be heard." Could it be possible that his father had known her, or even saved her? The thought refused to leave his mind. For weeks, Ethan worked during the day and searched at night. He traced old flight paths, checked old war records, and followed communication logs. Every piece of data led to one truth. 3 years ago, during the Battle of the Viral Moon, a human engineer named Captain Arlen, Ethan's father, had saved several alien civilians trapped under a collapsing reactor. Only one adult and a small child survived. Their names, Lyra and her infant. Ethan sat frozen in front of the screen. His hands trembled. "She's not looking for revenge," he thought. "She's looking for the human who saved her life." But his father had died that same night on Viral Moon. He had never come home. Ethan realized what Lyra didn't know. She had been searching for someone who was already gone. And maybe, just maybe, that was why she had come to his door. Because something about him reminded her of his father. A soft rain began to fall over the colony domes, a rare event on Mars. Ethan walked outside, watching the drops slide down the metal walls. He looked at the street where she once stood. He whispered, "Lyra, if you're still out there, I'll find you first." At that same moment, across the cold plains of another human colony, a tall alien woman stood at yet another door. Her cloak was torn by the wind, her arms holding the sleeping, glowing child close. She knocked. Knock, knock, knock. No one answered. She looked up at the sky filled with red stars and whispered, "Please, just one more door. Maybe he's here." The wind carried her words far across the night. Back on Mars, Ethan packed his tools and looked toward the transport dock. He didn't know where to start, but his mind was clear now. If she had been searching for 3 years and then he would search for her, because maybe, just maybe, she had already found the one she was looking for. Ethan's ship landed on Titan Colony 3 days later. The air there was cold and heavy, the sky painted with clouds that glowed orange from Saturn's light. The colony looked smaller than Mars, less protected, more silent. People here spoke little, always watching the dark wastelands beyond the fences. He carried only a small pack: food, a repair kit, and his father's old communicator marked with the name Lyra. He asked around carefully, not wanting to draw attention. Most people laughed when he mentioned the alien mother. "She's just a ghost story," one miner said. No one really saw her, just shadows and light. But an old woman near the transport gate whispered, "She was here 2 nights ago. She knocked on every door in Sector 6, no one answered." Ethan's chest tightened. Where did she go after that? The woman pointed toward the western ridge. That way, into the storm. He thanked her and left before the guards could hear. The wind outside the colony walls was wild. Red dust whipped across his helmet and the world seemed to blur. He used his scanner to trace faint energy trails, soft readings of radiation that looked almost alive. It matched the child's glow from the old videos. He followed the signal for hours until he saw something moving near a broken comm tower. A figure, wrapped in a torn cloak, holding a bundle of light. Ethan slowed down and lifted his hands to show he had no weapon. "Lyra?" he called out softly through the wind. The figure froze, then turned. Her eyes glowed faintly blue. Her skin looked pale and cracked from the cold. The baby in her arms gave a small cry, a gentle echoing sound that made the air itself shimmer. Lyra stared at him for a long time before whispering, "You are not afraid?" Ethan shook his head. "No, I came to help." She stepped closer, cautious but curious. The storm winds tugged at her cloak. "Help?" she asked. "Humans do not help my kind." "I know," Ethan said quietly. "But my father did." He held out the communicator with her name scratched on it. "You remember this?" Her eyes widened. She reached for it with trembling hands. "Where did you get this?" "It belonged to my father, Captain Arlen. He saved you on Virel Moon." Lyra's breath caught. She looked down at the child, then back at him. "Your father? He saved my son," she whispered. "He carried him out of the fire when no one else would. I've been looking for him ever since." Ethan's throat felt tight. "He didn't survive that battle." Lyra closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek, silver glowing faintly like starlight. "I knew," she said softly. "In my heart I knew, but I wanted to see his face one last time, to tell him that his kindness lived." She looked at Ethan with sad eyes. "For 3 years I searched every human world. I thought if I could find him I could save my child." Ethan frowned. "Save him? From what?" Lyra opened the glowing blanket. Inside, the baby's skin flickered between colors, human tone, then blue, then bright white light. "This child is not only mine," she said. "He is part human. Your father's blood saved him, but it also changed him. His body cannot stay stable in this air. He needs balance." Ethan knelt beside her, looking at the child closely. "He's sick. Dying," she whispered, slowly. "Each day the light fades. I thought your father might know how to help. Now I don't know what to do." Ethan looked at her, then at the storm around them. "We'll take him inside. I can build something, a chamber, a system to balance the air. I'm an engineer. I can help." Lyra blinked in surprise. "Why? Why would you help a stranger?" Ethan gave a small smile. "Because my father would have. And because no one should have to knock alone forever." For a moment, silence filled the storm. Then Lyra nodded slowly. "You have his voice," she whispered. Together, they walked through the cold wasteland toward the colony. Lyra's steps were weak, but Ethan stayed beside her. The baby's glow brightened each time Ethan spoke, as if it could sense safety. When they reached his small shelter on the edge of town, he quickly sealed the door and adjusted the oxygen mix. Lyra looked around, amazed at the human warmth, the lights, the tools, the soft hum of machines. She laid the child down gently. The baby opened its eyes, one blue, one brown. The colors of both worlds. Ethan knelt beside him. "He's beautiful," he said softly. Lyra smiled for the first time in years. "His name is Errol," she said. "It means light that endures." Outside, the storm raged on. But inside that small room, for the first time, there was peace. Ethan looked at them both and said quietly, "Maybe you found the one you were looking for after all." Lyra's gaze softened. "Maybe," she whispered. "I found two." Ethan worked through the night. His small home was filled with the hum of tools and the soft glow of machines. Lyra sat nearby, watching over her child as he slept on the workbench wrapped in silver cloth. She looked weak. Her breathing was slow, her skin pale like fading light. Ethan could tell she hadn't rested properly in years. He connected wires, calibrated sensors, and adjusted the portable air regulator. "Your atmosphere isn't like ours," he explained. "The air on human colonies has too much iron dust. It damages your lungs," Lyra nodded softly. "My people lived in clean skies." "Not this." Ethan sighed and continued to work. "If I can stabilize the air blend, maybe the baby can breathe safely too." When the machine finally powered on, a soft blue mist filled the room. The glow around the child brightened. Lyra gasped, covering her mouth in disbelief. He's stable," she whispered. Ethan smiled tiredly. "It's working. But not for long. The power cells can't hold it." The child's small hand reached up and touched Ethan's fingers. His skin shimmered faintly where they touched, human warmth blending with alien light. Lyra's eyes widened. He responds to you." Ethan looked down, feeling a strange connection. "Maybe because of my father's DNA in him," he said quietly. Lyra hesitated, then finally spoke the truth she had kept hidden. "When your father saved me, his blood touched mine. He had been wounded, and some of it entered my body when he carried me and the baby. My species, we absorb energy quickly. My son carries that mix now. Human and alien." Ethan froze. "So he's both?" "Yes," she said, her voice breaking. "And that is killing him." Ethan's eyes widened. "Why?" "Our bodies reject imbalance. The human part keeps him alive, but the alien part cannot stay in your world's air. He burns from the inside, slowly fading." Ethan's mind raced. "That's why you were searching for my father, for help." Lyra nodded. "He was the only human I ever trusted. The only one who didn't see us as monsters. He promised he would protect us." She looked down at the child, tears glimmering in her blue eyes. "But he died and I was left alone. Every colony I visited, they turned me away. They called me a liar, a threat." Ethan clenched his fists. "They don't understand." "They never do." Outside, alarms suddenly echoed across the colony. Lyra looked up, fear flashing in her eyes. "What is that?" Ethan checked the screen on the wall. "Patrol drones coming this way." "They've tracked your signal," he said. "The mist generator is giving off alien energy. They'll think it's a weapon." Lyra stood, holding her child close. "They cannot take him." Ethan moved quickly, turning off the lights and sealing the windows. "Stay quiet. I'll handle this." Through the narrow window, he saw 3 military vehicles stopping near his house. The colony commander stepped out, shouting through a loudspeaker. "Attention! Step out immediately! You are harboring a classified alien life form." Ethan's heart pounded. He whispered to Lyra, "They'll kill both of you if they see you." "I cannot run anymore," she said softly. "I'm tired." He looked at her, her trembling hands, her thin figure, the love burning in her eyes despite all her pain. "Then let me protect you, please." The soldiers started scanning the house with thermal sensors. Ethan shut down every power source except one, the life chamber for the baby. He turned to Lyra. "There's an old tunnel under the floor. It leads to the scrapyard outside the wall. We can escape through there." Lyra hesitated. "If they catch you helping me, I don't care," Ethan said firmly. "You've been knocking on doors for 3 years. It's time someone opened one." For the first time, Lyra smiled. A weak, beautiful smile. "Your father would be proud of you." They lifted the chamber together, moving toward the hidden hatch. The baby stirred but did not cry. His glow dimmed as the power faded. Ethan whispered, "Hold on, little one." Just a little longer. Outside, heavy boots hit the ground. The commander barked orders. "Break it down." The metal door began to shake. Ethan grabbed his pack and helped Lyra into the tunnel. Dust fell from the ceiling. The sound of soldiers filled the air. As he sealed the hatch behind them, one last echo reached his ears. Any human found helping the alien will be executed. Darkness surrounded them. Only the faint light from the baby's glow showed the way. Lyra whispered, "Ethan?" "What happens now?" He looked back toward the sound of soldiers breaking through and said, "Now we run, and we don't stop until he's safe." Together they crawled into the dark, the mother clutching her child, and the human carrying hope that could change two worlds forever. The tunnels were narrow and cold. Ethan's flashlight flickered as he led the way, crawling through the damp metal passage. Lyra followed behind him, clutching her child close. The faint glow from the baby's body reflected off the walls, lighting their path like a small living lantern. Above them, the colony echoed with sirens. Soldiers shouted orders. Boots stomped across the streets and drones buzzed overhead. Ethan whispered, "We'll come out near the scrapyard. Once we reach the outer dunes, their scanners won't find us." Lyra nodded weakly. "You know your world well." "I repair its broken parts," he said softly. "But this time I think the world itself is broken." They moved faster. The tunnel sloped downward, leading them into a forgotten area filled with old machines. Broken rovers, fuel tanks, and steel crates lay scattered around. Ethan pushed open a rusted panel and climbed out. Cold wind rushed in, carrying the smell of dust and metal. "Come on," he said, helping Lyra up. Outside, the night stretched endlessly. Titan's sky glowed orange and the horizon was covered in fog. They were free for now, but Lyra looked weaker. Her steps slowed. "Ethan," she said softly, "I don't think I can go much further." He turned to her. Her face was pale, her eyes dim. "What's wrong?" "The air. It burns," she whispered. "I've lasted too long in human air. My body is failing." Ethan gritted his teeth. "No, don't say that. We'll find shelter." But Lyra only smiled sadly. "No, I knew this would happen. Every breath I take here hurts. I kept going because of him." She looked at her child. "Because he still needs hope." Ethan's chest tightened. He wanted to say something, but a sudden noise broke the moment. An engine's roar in the distance. Patrol vehicles. Ethan grabbed her hand. "They're tracking us. We have to move." They ran through the scrapyard, weaving between piles of old metal. The lights of the patrols grew closer, scanning the area with bright white beams. Lyra's breathing grew heavy. She stumbled and Ethan caught her before she fell. "Stay with me," he said desperately. Then she whispered, "Ethan, there's something I must tell you before they come." He looked at her in panic. "Not now, Lyra." "Listen," she said firmly, her voice trembling but clear. "The one I've been searching for, your father, he didn't just save my child. He gave him something else. A part of his own life." Ethan blinked. "What do you mean?" "When he carried my baby through the reactor fire, he was dying from radiation. He knew he wouldn't survive. So he gave the child his genetic imprint, his blood, his DNA. Your father made my son part human." Ethan froze. His mind spun. "Then that means," Lyra nodded weakly. "Yes, my son is your brother." The words hit him like thunder. "My brother?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Two halves of the same soul. Born from two worlds. That's why his energy is unstable. Because your father's human code fights to survive inside alien light." Ethan felt dizzy. The truth made everything clear. The reason the baby reacted to his touch, the reason Lyra came to his door, and the strange feeling of connection he couldn't explain. Before he could respond, bright light swept over them. A drone hovered above, its metal voice booming. "Surrender immediately. You are under arrest." Ethan pulled Lyra behind an old container. Bullets of plasma scorched the metal beside them. He shouted, "They'll kill us if we don't move." Lyra coughed, her voice faint. "Take him, Ethan, please." "No," he said fiercely. "We're leaving together." She shook her head. "My time is done. But he's still alive because of you. Promise me you'll protect him." Ethan's throat tightened. "Lyra, I can't. Promise me." He gripped her shoulders, eyes burning. "I promise." A sudden explosion rocked the ground. One of the drones had fired near their shelter. The shockwave threw them apart. Ethan shielded the baby as metal debris rained down. When he looked back, Lyra was kneeling, clutching her pendant in one hand. Her cloak burned around the edges, glowing faintly blue. She smiled weakly at him through the smoke. "Now I see it. Your father's eyes in you," Ethan shouted. "Don't move. I'm coming." But before he could reach her, she pressed the pendant into the child's blanket and whispered something in her own language, a sound soft like music, fading into the wind. The patrols stormed closer. Ethan grabbed the child and ran, his heart breaking as he heard the last sound behind him, Lyra's voice whispering, "Protect him, my son of two worlds." When he turned back, she was gone. Only a faint trail of light remained, swirling into the sky like dust returning to the stars. Ethan fell to his knees, holding the baby close. Tears streamed down his face. "I'll keep my promise," he whispered. "I'll protect you. I swear it." The child's glow pulsed softly in his arms as if answering him. Above them, the soldiers searched, but the dust storm grew thick, hiding Ethan and the baby completely. For the first time in years, the door-knocker's journey was over. But the story of her child and the human who would raise him was only beginning. The storm raged for hours across the Titan plains. Ethan stumbled through the dust, holding the glowing child tight against his chest. The wind howled like a living beast, tearing at his clothes and filling his lungs with grit. Behind him, the colony patrol's lights flickered through the haze, searching, hunting. He had no direction, only the need to keep moving. Lyra's last words echoed in his mind again and again. "Protect him, my son of two worlds." When the storm finally weakened, Ethan reached the outskirts of an abandoned facility, a broken outpost left from the early colonization years. The metal doors hung loose, creaking in the wind. He slipped inside, sealing them behind him. Silence. Just the sound of his own heartbeat. He laid the child on a work table, the same way he had done before in his home. The baby's glow had dimmed, flickering like a dying ember. Ethan's throat tightened. "Hey, little one. Stay with me," he whispered. "We're not done yet." He searched the ruined room, old batteries, damaged circuits, empty tanks. Nothing worked. He slammed his fist against the wall in frustration. "Come on, there has to be something." Then in the dim light he noticed something strange. The small pendant Lyra had left with the baby. It was pulsing. A steady blue rhythm. Ethan picked it up carefully. Inside the crystal surface, faint holographic patterns moved, waves of alien text glowing and fading. When he touched it, a projection flickered into life. It was Lyra. Her voice, soft and distant, filled the room. "If you are hearing this, I am gone. My name is Lyra of the Varel. My child Eral carries within him the bridge between two worlds. His body was made to unite what war tried to destroy, but he cannot live in one world alone. He needs balance, both human warmth and alien light." Ethan's hands shook as he watched her fading image. "To the human who finds this message, I believe in you. My journey ended at every door, but maybe yours will open the last one." The message ended, leaving silence behind. Ethan stared at the child. The glow was fading faster now. The small chest rose and fell weakly. He could feel the baby's skin growing cold. "No, please." He grabbed the pendant, opened the casing, and found an energy core inside, small but powerful. It pulsed with the same rhythm as the child's heartbeat. He quickly connected it to his portable power unit, adjusting the frequency. "Come on, little brother," he said, tears forming in his eyes. "Don't quit on me." He powered the chamber, directing the blue mist into the small room. The pendant's light merged with the baby's glow, human and alien energy fusing together. The child gasped softly, light blooming across his skin. His heartbeat grew stronger. Ethan fell to his knees, relief washing over him. Outside, the sound of engines returned. The patrols had tracked his location. Red beams cut through the dust as soldiers surrounded the facility. A loudspeaker shouted, "Step outside, human." "You are aiding a dangerous species." Ethan stood, holding the child close. His face was streaked with tears and dust, but his voice was calm. "I'm not aiding a species," he said softly. "I'm protecting my family." The soldiers kicked the door open. They pointed their plasma rifles at him. The commander stepped forward, sneering. "Give us the child." Ethan shook his head. "He's not your enemy. He's a threat." The commander barked. "Look at him. He's not even human." Ethan's voice broke with anger. "Neither are you if you've lost your heart." The commander raised his weapon. "Stand down." But before he could fire, The pendant on the table glowed bright blue. Blinding light filled the room. The air trembled and a soft voice whispered through the light. "Ethan." "Thank you." Lyra's energy filled the space. For a brief moment, her form appeared again, shimmering like a ghost of starlight. She touched the baby's forehead and smiled. Then the light exploded outward, sweeping across the soldiers. Their weapons powered down, their visors cracked, and they staggered back, blinded. When the glow faded, the outpost was silent again. The soldiers were unconscious, the commander on his knees, staring in shock. Ethan stood in the center, holding the child who now glowed like a small sun, alive, peaceful, radiant. He looked down at the pendant. It was dark now, its power gone, its purpose fulfilled. Ethan whispered, "Goodbye, Lyra." He walked out into the storm, the child cradled against his chest. Behind him, the commander watched in silence, unable to raise his weapon. Outside, the dust began to clear. The orange sky brightened with the light of dawn. Ethan stopped and looked at the horizon, endless and quiet. "You'll see both worlds," he said softly to the child. "I'll make sure of it." The baby cooed gently, a warm light pulsing in response. And as they disappeared, into the rising sun, the legend of the alien mother ended. But a new one began, the story of the child who would open the last door between worlds. Many years passed. The war between humans and aliens slowly faded into stories told around campfires and classrooms. The fear that once filled the colonies began to weaken, replaced by quiet curiosity. On a small green world orbiting near the twin suns of Era, a new colony stood, not human, not alien, but something in between. Its streets were built from both steel and crystal, its air a mix of two worlds. And at the center of that new city stood a tall white monument known as the Door of Hope. People from every planet came to touch it, humans with open hearts, aliens with gentle hands. The monument had one message carved in both languages. She knocked for 3 years, but the door opened only when love answered. Ethan stood before the monument, older now, his hair streaked with silver. Beside him stood a boy, tall, glowing faintly from within, his eyes a perfect mix of blue and brown, Errol. The child who once flickered like a dying star was now strong, calm, and filled with life. The pendant Lyra left hung around his neck, glowing softly whenever he smiled. "Do you think she can still see us?" the boy asked, looking at the sky. Ethan smiled faintly. "If she crossed half the galaxy just to find one man, I think she's still watching from somewhere out there." The boy looked up. "Was she afraid?" "No," Ethan said softly. "She was brave. She walked through hatred, through storms, through empty nights, all because she believed someone out there would understand." And she was right. Errol reached out and touched the monument's surface. His hand left a faint light mark shimmering like a memory. Crowds had started to gather nearby, humans, aliens, and hybrids all mingling peacefully. They had come to celebrate the anniversary of the last knock, the day the alien mother's light saved the soldiers and united the colonies. Ethan stood on the steps, addressing the crowd. His voice was calm but carried strength. "Once our worlds were divided by fear. A mother crossed every border, every colony, searching for the man who saved her child. She didn't carry weapons or armies, only hope. And for 3 years no one opened their doors." He paused, looking around at the silent faces. "But one day a human did. Not because he was brave, not because he wanted fame, but because he saw her pain and remembered kindness. That single moment changed everything." Errol stood beside him, the faint glow of his skin lighting the steps. Ethan continued, "She taught us that compassion is stronger than fear. That sometimes the greatest heroes are not the ones who fight, but the ones who open their doors." The crowd began to applaud softly, many wiping tears from their eyes. Even the alien elders bowed their heads in respect. Errol turned to Ethan and whispered, "Father, will people remember her?" Ethan looked down at him, smiling through the warmth in his chest. "They already do. Every door that opens in kindness, every hand that reaches across difference, and that's her legacy." They walked together to the edge of the colony where the twin suns began to set, painting the sky gold and blue. The light reflected in Errol's eyes, half human, half alien, fully alive. "Do you miss her?" the boy asked softly. Ethan took a deep breath. "Every day, but I think she's here." He placed a hand over the boy's heart. Right there. Every time you choose love instead of anger, she's here. The boy smiled, tears shining faintly in the light. Then she'll never really be gone? Ethan nodded. No, she knocked on every human door for 3 years. But in truth, she was knocking on our hearts. She wanted us to open them. And we finally did. A gentle wind swept through the colony, warm and soft. The pendant around Errol's neck glowed brightly for a moment. A single pulse like a heartbeat from far among the stars. Ethan looked up at the sky and whispered, "Rest now, Lyra. Your son is safe." The door is open. As the suns dipped below the horizon, the colony lights turned on, bright, peaceful, alive. Humans and aliens walked together, laughing and talking under the same light. The boy stood quietly beside Ethan, holding the pendant. "She found the one," he said softly. Ethan smiled. "Yes," he replied, placing a hand on his shoulder. "But in the end, she helped us all find each other." And as the stars began to shimmer above them, the door of hope reflected their light, glowing with the silent message of the mother who never stopped knocking. Love will always find the one who opens the door. The end.